It's been almost 10 years since the U.S. invasion of Iraq that toppled former dictator Saddam Hussein. Since then, the country has ramped up oil production, and the International Energy Agency says the country is set to double its output by the end of this decade. It also says by 2030, Iraq is on track to become the second biggest supplier to world markets after Saudi Arabia. The agency says that the rapid growth rate could generate $200 billion a year of revenue and transform the country's economy. But that's a long way off. Right now, 23% of Iraqis still live below the poverty line. And as Arwa Damon found out, some of them go to extreme measures to basically survive.
Muntaha is perhaps the smallest of the children here, crawling through filth and mountains of garbage, gathering bottles, cans, anything she can sell. Scavenging is her family's only source of income. And scouring rotten garbage will pay just $4 to $8 a day. We wanted to speak to her, but her older brother said she had to keep working. And we were forced to film from outside the dump. Local officials refused to allow us access inside, telling us, "We don't want you filming images of children picking up trash." 12-year-old Sajid's father is ill and can't work. His mother cares for his 3 younger sisters. Of course he'd like to go to school, he says, but there's no one but him to put money on the table. This is the Shia slum of Sadr City, among the poorest neighborhoods in the capital. Elsewhere, development in Baghdad is visible, from small businesses that have given themselves a facelift to new malls like this one, glistening amid scruffy surroundings. Officially, the government claims unemployment has dropped from 18% in 2008 to 11% last year, but it varies wildly from province to province. In oil-rich Kirkuk, for example, it's at 2.5%, but in the largely Sunni desert province of Anbar, it's 18%. And much of the capital is still a mess. Look hard enough and you will find street repairs and other government-funded small projects, but basic services are still in shambles. Across Baghdad, power cables from generators weave massive cobwebs across streets, up and down buildings. Households still only receive between 2 and 6 hours of city power a day. Much of Iraq's oil wealth is lost to corruption and mismanagement, despite the steady increase in production. According to the United Nations Children Fund, around 23% of the population still lives below the poverty line. We met Karim Hassan among the families who live at the dump. His 10-year-old daughter died shortly after the family moved here 9 years ago. He says doctors told him it was from a bacteria she picked up. He takes us into the crude structure his family lives in. Inside, his wife, Aide, shows us her 2-month-old grandson. I am so worried about his health, she tells us, because of the waste. But what can I do? If I could leave, I would. I wouldn't live in filth. She says some kind people nearby help them wire electricity to run a heater to keep the baby warm in the winter chill and rain.
She's showing us how if you just lift up one of these bricks, you can see the water underneath it. So they've had to put bricks all over the entire floor. And then they're sleeping on top of the bricks themselves.
Iraq's dictator revived. But on the garbage dumps of Sadr City, progress is hard to find. Arwa Damon for Marketplace Middle East in Baghdad.